Let me go to Michelle in New Jersey. Hello, Michelle.
Hey.
Hi.
Glenn, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I've always been a praying person, so I've been praying a lot since everything's been changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an epiphany a little while back.
Yes.
Maybe it's not an epiphany to you or a lot of the listeners, but I kind of felt like I wanted to call you and tell you about it.
All right.
You said a while back that you could see the landing site.
Yes.
You could see how to get out of it. I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I started praying about that.
Yes.
And about a week after I started praying about that, I've been looking at everything that's going on, all these regulations, all this pressure, what you're, quote, permitted to say and what we're, quote, not permitted to say. And I couldn't see a way out at all. So after I'd been praying about this for a while, I read Bible stories to my children at bedtime, and we were reading Moses. We were going through the plagues. And as I'm reading to them, there's a line in the story where God says he would harden Pharaoh's heart so all would know that it was God who set them free, not man. And I stopped reading. And my kids are saying, Mom, keep reading. But I saw it. It was going to be God. And then things started clicking in my head. But as I kept reading, I thought, if it's going to be God, then things are going to get worse. Because God is going to want us to know that it was his hand, not anything that we did. Mm-hmm. But we can't give up. I mean, if Moses gave up and walked away, it would have been another 100 years before God found somebody else to go talk to Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
So through that, I saw what I saw as the way out. It was going to be the hand of God saving our country, and we can't give up at all.
Michelle, thank you. I have been... do you remember why I said I could see the landing strip? Do you remember what we were talking about around that time?
I don't remember at all. No, I just remember what you said.
Moses.
No wonder I started reading Moses.
Moses
asked me to read Moses.
Is the answer. He has been the answer since Columbus came here. When the Pilgrims came here, they were the modern-day Israelites coming to the Promised Land. They write about it themselves. Our founders were, George Washington was Moses, and they talked about the shining city on the hill, the New Jerusalem. This was the Promised Land, and we were the Israelites. They talked about it. What happened with Abraham Lincoln? Abraham Lincoln, the reason why the Statue of Liberty is holding the law, she's holding the law, but they are tablets. We don't have tablets for law. It says July 4th that it is our law, but they are tablets. And the reason why at her foot she has chains around her leg that have been broken because she is leaving the chains of bondage like Moses. That is not a crown on her head. Look up, go to the website, go to Google, and, well, don't use Google because they're probably spying on you. Go and Google Michelangelo's Moses. You will see on his head there are horns. I've stood there and looked at that, and I thought to myself, why did Michelangelo put horns on the head of Moses? It's because it was a mistranslation, and the word can be translated two different ways: horns or rays of light. The horns that are on Moses is the crown on the Statue of Liberty. Those are rays of light. When Martin Luther King, when he started the civil rights movement, and that really started to go, if you look at his words, all he spoke about was Moses. We're going to the Promised Land. I may not reach it with you.
And I've seen the Promised Land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the Promised Land.
But we will go to the Promised Land. That's what he was talking about. Moses is the iconic figure of America. Most people don't know that or realize that. Moses is the reason we will survive. God will... Go back and read. First of all, over 30% of our law, 30% more of research or quotes were done by the founders of the book of Deuteronomy than any other source. Ours is the law of Moses. But go back and read the Moses story and concentrate on just these words: fire and consume. The fire of the burning bush is God, and it is truth. And the truth shall set you free, but it will make you miserable first. It will set a fire, but if you stand in the truth of God, it will consume everything outside. But if you are part of his people and in his truth, it will not consume you. If you notice the words consume all through the Moses story, God says, I will consume them. Never you consume them, I will consume them. And he uses the image of fire and consumption, and it won't consume those who are on his side. It does consume those who are not. Stand back and prepare for miracles as mighty as the seas parting, because excuse me for getting all religious here, but we're talking about the Bible anyway. I testify to you now, miracles will happen on that scale, and you will see the finger of God in your lifetime. You are right about one thing. It is going to get darker before it gets lighter. But as long as you are standing in the fire of God, as long as you are feet solid and you've brought your kids standing in that fire as well, and they know what is true, look out, world, because here comes Moses. Michelle, you are a blessing. Thank you so much for calling.
I do have to tell you, my children would rather watch Founders Fridays. My daughter's 8. She started a Founding Fathers notebook.
That's amazing.
Rather than playing video games, I couldn't believe it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, if I could only get my kids to do it. Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Our sponsor this half hour is GoToMeeting.com.